Listen up, my fellow coaches and leaders. The truth is, we all need a space to learn and grow so we can bust through our personal glass ceilings and step into our full potential, especially if we want to create the space to allow others to step into theirs. And that's where I come in. I'm not just a former clinical psychologist, but also a seasoned dream life and business coach with over 2 decades of experience helping people shatter their personal barriers and unleash their greatness. And here's the thing, you don't have to figure this all out on your own. As a heart-centered entrepreneur or industry leader, you deserve the best tools and strategies to help you and your business thrive. And that's why I'm excited to share my experience with you through the Coaching for Coaches podcast. Utilizing powerful combination of clinical skills, quantum physics, and strength-based coaching methods, I'll show you exactly what to do and exactly what to say to unleash your true potential and create a path for your clients to follow. And not just that, I'll also teach you how to build a thriving coaching business around your unique skill set and passions. So let's get started. It's time to answer your calling, make a lasting impact on the world, and create a lucrative living doing exactly what you love. Welcome to the Coaching for Coaches podcast, where greatness begins. Hey, you guys. Big welcome back to Coaching for Coaches. I know that leaders need to be led and coaches need to be coached. And so this podcast is geared to helping fill your cup so you can go overflow and impact your clients in a much more powerful way. Our next guest is an international human design and manifestation coach. She ignites business owners to become powerful, profitable, and purposeful. She's a certified business master coach and human design reader. She lives in Dallas, Texas with her husband of 27 years, 4 kids, 2 dogs, and 1 grand dog. She loves Netflix, naps, and sparkling water. Big dream life welcome to Courtney Coing.
Hey, thank you so much, Denise, for having me on today. I'm so excited.
Yay! Well, I'm excited to connect with you because I think the more that we as coaches know who we are, the better we can serve our clients. And so before we jump into what you do now, I'd love to hear a bit about why you got into human design to begin with.
Yeah. So I have a degree in marriage and family therapy, and as I was getting that, I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do. Do you know? But anyway, I had always loved helping other people. I had always loved serving other people, connecting with other people. And so I stepped into the marketing and market research space. My husband and I own a company, and he runs that now and stuff. And I was developing a social media coaching program because I thought that would help our clients, and I thought that would really help the kind of me step into this coaching world, you know. And so as I was doing that, one of my colleague friends was like, "Hey, do you know your human design?" And when I heard that word, I was like, "Wait a second, what? What is that?" It just like settled in my soul, and I knew there was something there for me. So I'd done meditation coaching in the past. I'd done like always loved personal development and all these things. And so when I stepped into human design, which is like a personal development tool, it just felt so me, and it felt so freeing. It gave me permission to really live aligned with the soul that I was born with, instead of trying to say, oh, well, maybe I should do it business like that person or this other person, or maybe why isn't waking up at 5 a.m. Why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? You know, type of thing. Like somehow I was broken or messed up because I couldn't do business like what I thought everybody else was doing business like. And so it gave me this permission to really step into my own power and to embrace that. Oftentimes, I feel like we have blind spots for ourselves. And this opens up this world of understanding and really living in an authentic, real way.
Awesome. So it sounds like really you were I led there, I always say the how shows up when you're moving your feet and you're taking actions. You guys had started a successful business and were growing in that. And then all of a sudden this new thing came into your world, but yet really connected with your soul. And so what is human design? How would you describe it to someone?
Yeah, so human design is based in astrology because it has to do with your time, place, and date of birth. But really, it's a personality test. In personality tests, you have to answer questions, right? Well, with human design, all you're doing is putting in your time, place, and date of birth. And it comes up with a chart. And this chart has layers of gifts that you were born with. And so from this personal development tool, I help my clients to acknowledge the gift. Hey, this is the gift you were actually born with. Um, and then what to do about it. In personal development and in coaching, it's what I love about it is like it's so forward facing, right? It's like, hey, this is what my soul is needing or saying or has. And here's what I'm going to do about it to ignite that gift even more. So I have one of the gifts is the gift of speaking. And I have that gift, and you also have that gift as well. And so stepping into how do we look at our businesses and speak more? How do we put ourselves in positions where we can really connect with people through our voice? And so it gives us a framework to be like, to explore and kind of get curious. Like, what if I launched a podcast? What if I did retreats or conferences and things like that, And, and so it's these road markers that help us to develop our soul's gifts even more instead of just like, thinking, oh, well, that's not really special that I can do that. Or maybe that just happened once. But no, it's really recognizing that we are a phenomenon, each one of us, for different reasons.
I love that because I know when I first started in business, I would look to other people who were successful and say, oh, I need to be more like them. I need to be more like that. And so I would try to be more like that, and it didn't fit me. And so then I would wonder, well, maybe this isn't just the route for me. Maybe I should just go back to what I was doing before. And it's easy to give up if you don't find a way to use your strengths and tap into them rather than trying to fix all your weaknesses. I think it can be easy to try to fix our weaknesses when in reality, honing in on our strengths, it will help us to love what we do and do more of what we love. And so I love that human design essentially helps to validate and help people to truly understand that what they love is important. What they're good at is important. I often think everybody knows what I know, right? And so it's not a big deal. But yet when you talk to people, you realize, no, what you do is special. It is important because not everybody has those same gifts. So if somebody were to ask to get their human design read from you, what types of things would they learn?
Well, there's lots of layers to human design, and that's also one of the reasons I love it so much because we're multidimensional people, right? So human design goes into how do we make decisions best? What's kind of our order of operations when we're making decisions for us personally? So yesterday I was meeting with a potential client, and I wanted to honor her and her making a decision. So I said, I'm like, take your time to make a decision. That's how you make decisions best. You don't need to rush into anything. You don't need to say yes right now, but feel into it. Does this feel right? So giving her some clues as to like, what does this look like for you? Human design also shares like what's a core feeling when we're living aligned? What does that feeling feel like? And so when we know that feeling, we can be like, oh, hey, here it is. What have I been doing to cultivate that feeling in my life and in my business, and then there's all these other layers and gifts and places where we operate, but it's fine tuning things. I always say like personal development is really about micro betterments. It's about doing one little thing you get that down and you do one more little thing and layers. And so that's how I work with human design, and how I help people to understand their design and read their charts and things like that, is just here's one layer, and now go do something about it.
Right. So you're really helping them to see this is ingrained in you. Like, this is how you were made. So you don't have to try to be a square peg in a round hole, right? You can create a round hole for yourself and life will be way easier because you're not trying to swim up current. How many analogies can I fit into it? We'll see.
Yes. No, that's totally it. It really is. And when I was doing my own human design experiment on myself to see if does this really work, I was just feeling more freedom and validation and all the things. And so I thought, okay, well, let's launch a program to teach people about their human design type. And that's one of the components of human design is our type. And I was like, but I have to do it honoring my human design, honoring this alignment. And so I did that, and I didn't hustle more. I launched really seamlessly, and within 6 months, this program was in 6 different countries. Not by working harder at all, because like I love a good nap.
Right, but
So
working in alignment. And I think that's
yes,
truly where the magic happens. I tell people if they're in dream life alignment, head, heart, feet, you know what you want, you believe it's possible, and you're taking daily action, like that's when the magic happens. That's when the how shows up for you, and 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 anymore.
yeah, and that's how we make things happen. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a strategy of how each human design type makes things happen. And so oftentimes we think it's like, well, I gotta go out there and do this and this and this. And it's not necessarily that way. So we can really operate in a way that feels good, and also allows our businesses to expand as well.
Right. So tell me about a few stories that you have where they were maybe clients came in as either, business owners or moms or whoever. And because
Mhm.
of this awareness, were able to structure their lives a little bit differently and see results.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of generators who that's one of the 5 types, and they have lots of energy and they can just go, go, go all the time. So one of my clients is a 7-figure boss, and she's a coach. And I was sharing with her her human design chart and did a reading for her, which I do in like a secret podcast. So they get to listen to their episodes in their personal development time and stuff. And so she messaged me and she's like, um, thank you for giving me freedom. Thank you for allowing me to see that I have choices. And I can choose, do I want to do this because it lights me up and I'm passionate about it? Or can I delegate or diminish or delete this other thing because I don't want to do it? Or maybe I want to pivot and go in a whole different direction. I don't feel stuck and right here, right now. And so that permission to be able to, like, that I gave her, to, you can follow that passionate feeling, that light up feeling within you, and wherever that course takes you is where you need to go.
Awesome. And I think
Yeah.
just that awareness is huge. The more that we can really
Mhm.
know who we are, the more that we can hone into our
Mhm.
strengths and double down on them and own them as being important. And then the other thing that I think is cool is being able to pull out and recognize the strengths in our clients so that we can help them to step into their strengths and own their strengths as well. Are you able to now, when you like watch people or work with people, identify, oh, she's a generator?
Oh, totally. I'm like getting clues and stuff like that from what they're saying and stuff. And it's so interesting to me when I point out, I'm like, okay, this is what your chart is saying. Um, and they're able to say, you know what, that is me. Oh, okay. I can change and shift how I'm doing things so that I can show up more me. And oftentimes too, what I part of human design and with any personality test is that when we answer a bunch of questions, our brain tends to find loopholes, right? Our brains are always finding loopholes for things, right? They're like, "Oh, you're not that special. You did that cool one thing, but I don't know." And so when we answer questions, which are really cool, and I love all the different enneagrams and straight finders, those are so awesome. And but our brain finds these loopholes to like, well, I don't think that is really your strength or your gift or whatever it is, you know? And so your date of birth is a fact, and our brain really does well with facts. And so in this subconscious retraining, it's like, well, from this chart, I'm hearing that my gift is to sparkle in the spotlight, or I have the gift of to crush over mountains, you know? I have these, you know, all these other gifts. Well, it's only based on a date of birth and that's a fact. So I guess these things are true. So it kind of squelches this timeline of the having to work with the brain, like, okay, come on, get with the picture, you know? It's like, oh yeah, I can adapt to this and really retrain my mind. So I think about it like mind training, and we're all in that business, right? Of like, we need to retrain our mind. We need to build support around ourselves and the higher level self that we know is inside of us. So how do we have a roadmap to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there like when you get your human design read, do you find, or are there any like blind spots pointed out or weak spots, or is there anything like that that is assessed?
Yeah, I find a lot that people across all charts, and I've read hundreds of them, and all from people from different countries and all the things, that they really want to make things happen in a very alpha business type of way, you know? And they're like, well, that means that I have to be kind of aggressive. I have to be not cold calling, but you know, like out there, kind of ucky energy, do you know, that doesn't resonate. And I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, energy speaks to energy before you even open up your mouth. So the work that you do on yourself, people feel that in your profile picture, like literally. It's incredible. So I'm like, if you lean into this way of making things happen for you, um, which for you, Denise, as a manifester, one of the types is to communicate. That's how you make things happen. For me as a projector, it's waiting for this invitation, but there's all these intricacies of those strategies that we can lean into that really help us. So I just got a message yesterday from one of my clients, and she's like, she is this wait for the invitation, which sounds like we don't wait in business. What are you talking about? You know? But I told her, I'm like, you're about curating those invitations. You're about stepping in people's world and sharing the amazing stuff that you do. So people are responding to that. And she messaged me yesterday. She's like, oh my gosh, I was invited to a summit. And like, just like all these other things. She's like, it's all falling into place. That's what the phrase I get a lot. It's all falling into place. And I'm like, yes, it is. It doesn't have to feel like you're swimming upstream.
Right. Yeah. I found that when I go live or I'm doing live trainings, certainly recording videos and doing reels, like that's fine. But if I know that somebody's on the other end and they're giving me like, it's this energy exchange, like that's truly where I thrive. And so hearing, you know, communicator is a strength, I think, oh, that's why I really feel rejuvenated after I interact with my clients or I do a live, and I should do more of it. It should be on my calendar rather than it being like a whim. And I think for several years I thought, okay, I'm going to do stories or I'm going to do reels, and I tried TikTok or all these other things, and I've really come back to like lives and webinars or things where there's somebody on the other line like really supports my strengths.
Yes, it does. And it's like you take inspired action based on that knowledge, and then it changes everything. It changes, like, I could tell how passionate you are about doing it that way. And it's like, instead of feeling like you have to do all the things, you can cut out the noise
Right.
and just focus on what resonates with you.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. So how can people work with you? Do you have, I know I'll put your website in the show notes, and did I say your last name right? How do you say your last name?
Koenig.
Koenig.
It was close enough. You were good.
Close enough.
It's
I
a tough
know.
one. It took me for a while. Let's be honest.
CourtneyKoenig.com. I'll put that in the show notes. And you guys can check out her courses. You can get your human design chart, all the things. Is there anything specifically you'd like to point people to?
Yeah, they can get their human design chart on my website, and it comes with a guide that will help them to start understanding their type, leaning into that, and really aligning with who they are. And then always step furthers are different ways to pop into my world on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, get a reading is amazing too. So if you want to know all the things, if you're like, I need to know all the things, that's a good place to start.
You can get the chart and go, what does this mean? And so I know we did. You read my chart and supported me in helping learn my strengths, which can connect people to that as well. And it was so helpful because again, you can get the chart and you might not totally glean all that you could from it without actually talking to Courtney too.
Yeah. There's many layers. It does look crazy, but there's many cool layers once you discover and uncover it.
Right. All right. I've got two last questions for you. As an entrepreneur, a lot of those listening are new or brewing entrepreneurs. Some are just brand new. Some are in the beginning, first 3 to 5 years of their coaching business. I'd love to hear what you have, like what personal development book you feel like really changed the game for you.
Oh, there's so many. I'll just say the one that recently I read is Julie Solomon. She's big on Instagram, and I think it's called Get What You Want or something like that. It was amazing, really practical and advice and knowledge. She is an influencer over in Instagram and really has cultivated a great community that I love to participate in. But she is just, it was magic. I loved it.
Okay, awesome. So business strategy potentially, or is it mindset or both?
It's a both, honestly. Yeah, it was in both. It was really good. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. And then the last question is we know that as coaches, we are constantly pouring out into our clients. And so it's important for us to stay full. What is one thing you do every day that you couldn't live without?
Oh, so I am very aware of my own space, having my kind of alone time and development time. And so I don't start working till like 9:30 or 10 in the morning because I wake up, I take my dog for a walk. That's a non-negotiable. And I do like personal spiritual development time as well, say my prayers, like I really when my brain starts to be like, oh, maybe you should check some of those messages, I'm like, no, it's not time yet. And so I just have really strict boundaries around that. And I really have strict boundaries around listening to my body. I'm like, is my body really, really tired? Like, I'm not going to push through that. I'm not going to say, oh, well, you'll get better, or just whatever, just ignore. So I take breaks. I make sure to renew myself. I go to the gym and walk and do weights, and like those things like help me to be here and to feel good every day. And it's non-negotiable. Like I pour into myself, like almost like my first job,
Well, and if you think about it, we as coaches, like we get paid to take care of ourselves so we can pour that out into others. And I often say, we are part of our job is to keep learning and to keep ourselves filled and do that personal development work, because we will then teach what we're learning. And so like, what book are you reading and how are you de-stressing through exercise or meditation? All of those things are part of your business plan, to be honest, right?
Yes, they really are. I love that. Yeah, they're really part of the business plan, and people just jump to like the structure of other things and forget about themselves. And I have one of the things I hear over and over again is I'm so burnt out. I'm so tired, and I'm like, well, how are you helping yourself or what are you doing? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't know. Let's get this going, like you have to have multiple things to really help renew and stay the course
Yeah,
because yeah, it's pouring into other people. It's beautiful work, but it has to start from within.
absolutely. Yeah, I often hear, we've got so many plates going that most people are living in chronic stress. And so I'm like, all right, what's your priority? Let's start saying no to things. Like, what doesn't need to be you? Because we
Yes.
don't need to be super mom and do all the things everywhere. And so I find that oftentimes women especially have a hard time asking for help. So
Yes,
anyway, this is a
definitely.
good conversation. We could chat all day. But you guys check out
Yes.
Courtney's website, get your human design chart. And then if you're interested in learning more on how you can work with her, all of that will be on the website. But I know for me, the more that I learn about myself, the more that I say yes to my strengths and make sure I'm doing more of it, and then let go of, as you said, the chatter, the clutter of the things that really aren't serving me and aren't filling my cup along the way, because we want to build businesses that not only give people results, but that we feel aligned with. We love it. We're living in our purpose and we're taking people where they want to go. So thank you, Courtney,
Yeah.
for your time today. You guys check out all the resources below and we will see you next week.